Okay, you're listening to 2 Cuz FM, and in the studio I've got with me Craig Aspinall, who's tied up with Landcare, mate. What's your purpose of your visit to Burke area?
Yeah, thanks, Braz. I'm just out in the Western region this week, visiting as many Aboriginal organisations as I can and catching up with some mob and some Landcare coordinators and groups as well.
Yeah.
Just to let everyone know about the new Aboriginal program out of Landcare, New South Wales.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, mate. It's look, we've called it the Working Together program.
Yeah.
It's pretty much we've got some funding from the state government for a 4-year program.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much trying to just get more collaboration between Landcare groups and Aboriginal people.
Yeah. And what sort of projects you got in line?
Yeah. Well, at the moment we've done an official launch. We've engaged an Aboriginal artist to do a rebranding project.
Yeah.
So pretty soon we're going to have some deadly clothing and apparel and stuff to give out for the program, just to promote it. And you know what our mob's like, but everyone loves the colourful shirts and the artwork and stuff. So it's a pretty standard way of promoting something. But no, we've got there's a little bit of funding as well. So we've got a small grants program open at the moment for any Landcare New South Wales member groups and also for any Aboriginal organisation who may be wanting to do something involved with Landcare. So the types of projects we've had so far would be interpretive signage at significant locations where there might be Landcare people doing work there. Yeah. Some of the other ones are some gardens, some community gardens.
Yeah.
And some of the other projects could be involved with the technology relating to looking for sites.
Yeah.
So a lot of people involved in Landcare are private landholders.
Yeah.
And I see that where we can try and engage with private landholders to check their country for significant sites and get it registered on the state database, and then that just helps the whole information gathering that's across New South Wales.
Yeah. What about native corridors? You blokes handle that?
Look, Landcare is a large family with a whole lot of activities going on, and definitely wildlife corridors, private land conservation, protected areas. They're all the sort of activities that Landcare people do.
Yeah, because there was. I used to do what they call Tidy Towns program, and a lot of that was involved in preserving a lot of growth and like as far as projects going, as far as beautification of areas and that. And one of the schools from out there that's no longer with us, they did a native nature strip, like a corridor. It's roughly about 10 kilometres out of town, I think, near Pirabor School. And but there was other projects that we were looking at. Was the actual getting vegetation out near the boat ramp, like to stop the soil from washed away and that. Yeah,
absolutely. Look, all that is considered a Landcare activity. It's a land management. It's about habitat. It's about vegetation. It's about our flora and fauna, and it's about getting people back on country. And there were some early workshops a couple of years ago that led to some pressure being applied for this program to be funded by the government, which is fantastic. And at one of those workshops, there was a quote from an Aboriginal participant there, and I'd just like to read it out. She says, "We can't afford Landcare not to be engaged with Aboriginal people doing things on our country. We are in there no matter what. This dictates that we should be in there." So basically, Landcare New South Wales, in our strategic plan, we do acknowledge that the First Peoples are the traditional custodians of New South Wales and the original land carers.
Yeah, they looked after it well, didn't they?
Yeah, so the way I see it is that rather than this being a situation where the Aboriginal community are joining Landcare, I see it on the other way around, which is more about the Landcare community joining Aboriginal and traditional ways of managing country.
Yeah, because have you heard of the Dark Emu, the book called Dark Emu?
Yeah, look, and there's a whole lot of fantastic resources out there, and just in the 8 months I've been on this job, I've been able to come across some fantastic publications. And I'd have to say that one of the key drivers, or one of the key issues at the moment that's driving Aboriginal land management and the respect for it, is cultural burning.
Cultural burning.
Everyone's talking about it. We had the big fires last year. Everyone's talking about cultural burning and and traditional land management practices.
Yeah.
So we've got a few issues to work through with insurance and getting our mob getting insurance coverage because lighting a fire is something that scares a lot of people. Yeah. But it's fair to say that those who've looked into it fully understand that cool burning or cultural burning, as it's otherwise known, is very different to the way Western society
it's been brought
deals
up
with
all
fire.
The time. They say, why don't you follow the Aboriginal way?
Yeah. So I guess this project is about, it's got 5 key themes. The first one being recognition. So, Aboriginal protocols and ways of working are understood by Landcare people, and they recognise that, they've got this vast knowledge. Relationships and collaboration, obviously it's about people working together, getting along. Representation and inclusion, so we always need Aboriginal people on the boards and committees and, to be involved there to try and direct how things should happen. The other theme is awareness and education. So we've got part of my role has been providing education, just standard cultural awareness and protocols for Landcare people. There's a lot of very well-meaning people involved in Landcare, but I want to make sure that when they have an interaction with their local Aboriginal people, that they're not saying or doing things that might be offensive. So it's very important for them to get those fundamental protocols of how to work with our mob, and who to speak to, that sort of stuff. Even things like how meetings might work, sorry business. Guess what? There's if you got a meeting plan and someone passes away and there's sorry business in that community, you're not going to have that meeting. So you better prepare yourself to reschedule. And it's fair to say that's just what happened this week. We had a meeting scheduled in Cobar. COVID's impacted a few people coming from Victoria, a couple of Aboriginal representatives. So that's where I find myself up in Bourke today. And soon to head over to Brewarrina as well and hand out a few flyers and brochures on the program and promote it, let people know about it, let people know we've got small grants up to $2,000 for Landcare-related activities. And we'd also love to see more Aboriginal groups join Landcare New South Wales and receive the associated benefits that come with that.
Have they been doing any work with the Bourke community, like as far as trying to rally up Landcare support there?
Yeah, look, the Western Landcare region is a very strong region. Very robust, and they've got a number of Landcare coordinators that work in various locations across this vast geographic space. The Western region has the largest geography, of course, for people to cover. But no, Bourke has a local Landcare coordinator whose name is Julia. I'm just going to meet Julia now. She's in Brewarrina today, and she's due to pop in to see you.
It's too scared to come to.
No, she'll be in soon. Very, very busy work, and
I get it. That.
And look, I haven't met Julia yet either, so about to head straight over, and that's part of my role as well, is to get around, introduce myself to the Landcare Groups. Person. I'm not sure whether people realise, but there's around 1,200 Landcare Groups across New South Wales. Predominantly volunteer driven, and then the structure is broken into regions and local groups.
Here in the Bourke area, as far as amongst the landholders themselves?
Well, yes, they would, and that's pretty much part of my education in this role, is to get out and about and learn about how the Landcare groups are structured and where they are and who's involved.
They were active,
no, absolutely, and with a position, having a position in the town. Certainly helps strengthen that. So certainly you're right. Landcare is a wide, varied house. Because out here, looking after the land is related to improved production, but also environmental, benefits for the natural environment. But on the coast, you might find that the Landcare people are very much about conservation and conserving areas and looking after coastal habitat for a lot of species that might be in that way. Fencing off stuff, keeping cows off the waterways, putting vegetation in where there's erosion. All those activities generally come under the umbrella of natural resource management. And that's pretty much.
What about floodways, mate? Is it wise to do plantations in floodways? Like, for example, out there at the North Burke at the boat ramp, there's a lot of bare area around there, but that goes underwater. Is it an idea to more or less get vegetation out that way? Will it get washed away, or will it? Or do you think it'd be a good idea to put it in so that it slows down the water?
Oh, I prefer to leave that up to the experts, brother.
Yeah,
look, there's a lot of local land services, which used to be the catchment management authorities, of course. Look, they've got a lot of technical experts, and there's a lot of water experts and hydrology experts around.
I know that it does travel down fast when there's no vegetation to hold it back.
Yes, absolutely, and everyone knows that
erosion sets.
Yeah, and look, even after those bushfires that they had over on the coast, was followed by some very severe rains and flooding, and that was a really bad thing, because what had happened was, all that burnt stuff ended up washing into the waterways as well. So you had things like fish kills, on the south coast and stuff like that as well, where all that ash went into the water and hurts the fish. So everything has a flow-on benefit and a flow-on effect. And, these things don't happen overnight.
No.
And certainly, we've got examples around New South Wales of some fantastic collaboration between Landcare Groups and local Aboriginal mob.
Yeah.
And we've got areas where people are keen, but they just don't know who to contact.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the purpose of my role, is to just try and join people together. Offer them some small amount of stimulus funding to, get something going.
Yeah.
And then hopefully that builds relationships that can flourish from there.
Well, thanks for coming in, mate.
Thanks, brother.
No worries.
Thank you.